Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I stole that part from Road Dogg, but the rest is all me. I'm an inspiration to children everywhere, a pillar of society, and the man with the rear that makes the girls cheer. My name is Christopher Daniels. This is Markout Radio. Tonight, I'll be joined by Dark Fox, Greenway, Punchy, with special appearances by Shark Boy, Sidney Poitier, and the president of Mozambique, Mugombo Djibouti. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show.
Oh, fantastic. Unless you've been living underneath a rock for the last, 20 years or so, and I think I might be a little bit accurate in my statement of years. That is, of course, Christopher Daniels, former TNA star, and of course, the King of the Indies.
I'm not sure if you can call me the King of the Indies. I haven't been on the Indies in so long.
Are you looking to reprise that title, sir?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm happy to work wherever I can work, but like King of the Indies to me sounds. I feel like that's a position that someone else has to have at this point. There's got to be someone that is making the rounds on the independent scene with much more consistency than me. So unless like the president, once you stop being president, they always still call you Mr. President. So I guess maybe in that respect, I'm still the King of the Indies, but.
I think
there's got to be somebody. There's got to be somebody.
I think until somebody conducts like regicide, I think you can still be King of the Indies.
Really? I had no idea. I didn't realize that I had the title until I perish.
Until you,
there's a lot of pressure on me now.
That is a little bit of pressure, but I think you deal with it with good grace.
Well, of course, I'm filled with poise and panache.
Of course,
so of course,
and appletinis.
Well, not all the time. I mean, I can't do radio shows and drink. It's sort of against the law in a lot of states. So
well, that certainly doesn't stop Greenway.
Stone cold sober. Yeah.
Stone cold sober. Well, I mean, obviously the first thing that we probably should get out of the way is, of course, the elephant in the room, TNA. A lot of originals are dropping sort of left and right. I know I was watching TNA from its inception, and a lot of originals are leaving. Who do you think is next on that list?
I have no idea, man. That's a good question. I just read that Bobby Roode was suspended. I thought that was surprising. If you had asked me 6 months ago if AJ Styles was going to be gone, I never would have said yes. So, I mean, it's a tumultuous time at TNA, but there's a lot of talent that's there, and this is going to give them an opportunity to step up and make themselves part of the wrestling landscape. So it's interesting to see how this is all going to change TNA as a company.
No, that's fair. How about the current creative team? Do they have a plan, or is it sort of a week by week, fly by wire kind of setup right now?
That is a question for the day you interview Dave Lagana or Matt Conway or any of those guys. I have no idea. Okay. Like they don't let us in. We're not privy to those sorts of answers, to be honest with you.
Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. How about the new talent that's coming in? Like a lot of these guys are getting pushes. What is it? What was her name? Dixie's boy, EC3. And of course, Magnus, who came in originally as a sort of a Roman gladiator gimmick. These guys sort of seem to be getting the push that a lot of fans, I think, back when WWE former stars were getting signed, kind of wanted for you and AJ and Joe and everyone else. How do you feel about these guys getting the push that some fans kind of wanted you guys to get?
Well, I mean, those decisions are made by people that are above my position in the company. So I mean, all I really wanted to do was wrestle. If they gave me those opportunities, great. If not, I still got paid what I got paid. You know what I mean? I really couldn't worry about, like my job is to show up and do the best I can once the bell rings. I mean, that's all I can really affect in this position. And I did pitch ideas where I would have been used in different ways, but at the end of the day, those decisions are made by the creative team, and they have their reasons for making those decisions. And like I said, I'm not really privy to those reasons. So, I could come home and bang my head against the wall every day, but that wasn't really a conducive way to spend my days, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember the exact details because there's been a lot of speculation online and everything with the end of your run in TNA. Was it a fact of your contract run out? Was it just did they offer you a re-signing deal or anything like that?
Nope. They just my contract expired in the middle of April, and they just said they were going to go in a different direction with the different talent roster or the different talent on the roster, and that was it. Like they didn't have any plans for me, and they couldn't see putting me under contract and spending money on me to stay at home. So I mean that makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a decision that I was happy with, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's their company and it's their business, and you know, I'm not gonna, you know, like I said, come home and slit my wrists or drink bleach or anything. It's just the way it is. So I'm going to look for different places to work and places that want to put effort into me, and that's where I'll put my effort.
No, that's fair enough. Now, the one question I have is Curry Man.
Okay, that's your one question?
Well,
it's going to be a short podcast.
Oh, exactly. Is the Curry Man gimmick yours, or does it technically belong to TNA?
It doesn't belong to TNA.
That's fantastic news. Now, are we going to see Curry Man again?
Well, I don't know. I could call him and ask, but that would cost me a good amount of money. And, you know, it's a different time period in Japan, so he's not even up. He's probably drunk right now. So, I mean, I could put a call into him or something and let him get back to you. Oh, yeah? Okay. You guys are fast friends then. Maybe Curryman should come on the podcast and you guys can tell drinking stories. But his accent is really, really rough. So, I mean, you might have a hard time understanding him. You know, drunk plus bad accent equals hard to interview.
Oh, those are the best kind of interviews we do on this show.
Awesome.
Tell you. All right. Coming up, I noticed on your website, that's Fallen Angel, ChristopherDaniels.com, by the way, that you're booked for House of Hardcore coming up with your buddy Kazarian.
Yes. You
guys are going to have 3 nights in a row where you guys are wrestling. First night, Kingston and Homicide. Second night, Team 3D. And third night, the Young Bucks. Which one, and I'm not trying to paint you in a corner, but which one are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, all 3 of them for different reasons, man. I feel like Frankie and I, there's a lot left to do as a tag team, and I don't even think we began to scratch the surface of what we are capable of doing as a team, what we were doing at TNA. So getting a chance to go out there with guys that have a lot of independent credibility, like Homicide and Kingston, guys who have got a lot of experience and are legends in the tag team scene, like Bubba and Devon, and then guys that are on the best run of their lives right now, the Young Bucks. I mean, that's all 3 of those matches are going to be big challenges for us for different reasons, and I'm looking forward to all of them. I mean, that's one of the good things about being on the independent scene now is there's a lot of fresh matchups that we're going to be able to do, and I'm looking forward to all of that because at the end of the day, I want to wrestle. Frankie Kazarian wants to wrestle.
Mm-hmm. That in that same vein, who are you looking to wrestle in the future, either singles or tag team?
Well, I'm looking forward to getting the opportunity to work with guys like the Forever Hooligans, Rocky Romero and Alex Kozlov. It'd be cool if we got a chance to work with Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. And then as far as singles go, like it would be cool if I got an opportunity to work with John Morrison, with Carlito, with Chris Masters. These are guys that are on the independent scene now that are doing a lot of work around the United States. And, you know, it'd be cool. Those are first-time matches for me, and that'd be a lot of fun to do. I'm looking for, you know, the opportunity to sort of meet new challenges in my career at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, speaking of challenges, a lot of guys struggle with repeat injuries and pain. What steps do you take to take care of your body?
Well, I do a lot of things like yoga, Pilates, things like that sort of reduce the amount of wear and tear on your body just from repetitive bumps and falling down for a living. You know, I try to stay in shape in terms of like just doing full body stuff. A lot of things like P90X or Insanity or George St. Pierre's Rush Fit. And then I wrestle smart, man. I don't think I'm a risk taker. I don't think I'm a crazy, you know, fly over the top rope and land on my head on the floor type of wrestler. I try and go out there and do the type of thing that I can do 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week if I have to, while I'm still out there entertaining the fans and putting the best match that I can out there. You know, I'm in it for the long haul. I've been doing it for 21 years, and I'm not looking to stop anytime soon. So I'm not looking to go out in a blaze of glory in a wrestling ring anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you don't have any addiction problems, but where do you fall down on DDP yoga?
I gave that a try, man. I like DDP yoga. I think it's very cool. I think yoga, any sort of yoga overall is good in terms of staying flexible and staying sort of limber. But I really enjoy DDP stuff as well. You know, I sort of mix it up between that and the yoga that I got from P90X. You know, I'll give anything a try, man. I try and stay ahead of the curve and try to keep my body guessing. So I mix up a bunch of different sort of workout techniques.
How different is it from, like, you said you do regular yoga? I mean, is it totally different? I mean, I bought it like a couple weeks ago, but it's just sat in a drawer because I'm fat.
I gotcha.
But I mean, like,
it's not going to help you like that, but that's cool. I mean, if you want to use it as like a coaster or something,
I'm ready to bust it out any day. I got the heart monitor and everything. I'm ready to bust it out any day.
The big difference between DDP yoga and regular yoga is DDP incorporates a lot of isometrics, a lot of flexing your muscles, and you know, you burn a lot of calories and you get your heart rate up because you spend a lot of the time like 100% flexed. Like there are parts of the DDP yoga where he's basically telling you to flex every muscle in your body. So you're basically like squeezing your legs, squeezing your knees, squeezing your calves, squeezing your biceps, squeezing your chest. And you're trying to hold that position for anywhere from 5 seconds to 20 seconds. And I mean, you do that over the course of like 15, 20, 30 minutes. You're going to be sweating. Your heart rate's going to be skyrocketing, especially if this is something new to you. Like I had done a lot of yoga before I got into DDP yoga. And that was the big difference for me was like, there's a mental component to it too, to keep your mind sort of occupied in the sense of like, I got to remember to stay flexed, and then move into the different poses that DDP is running you through. And it's a workout, man. It's a definite workout. And there's a reason why a lot of wrestlers in the wrestling community have sort of latched on to DDP yoga.
Plus they can live at his house.
He makes such a good frittata. You know, a good egg, a bacon and cheese frittata. It's tremendous. He's quite a chef. And
he's taking on all comers, apparently.
Yes. There's always room at the house of DDP.
That's good though. I mean, for me as a fan, you know, watching this, like, see that he's saving Jake the Snake and Scott Hall's lives. You know, that's that's a nice thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, man. I mean, he could have easily just sort of turned his back on him. He could have given them just a little help, and when they faltered, he could have turned his back on him then. But he stuck with him the whole time, and that's the type of person that Dallas is. You know, he'd give you the shirt off his back, literally. And you know, these guys meant a lot to him coming up, and so that's why he's sort of gone out of his way to befriend them and to look after them like family almost.
Yeah, and I think it's a wonderful story to see in wrestling, and you know, a business that's so plagued with so many terrible stories. You know, I think the DDP yoga, Jake the Snake, Scott Hall thing is something uplifting, something nice to see.
Absolutely.
All right, so now, Christopher, I've got to ask you to tell me a story.
All right, hit me. What story do I need to tell you?
How you created the Koji clutch.
I actually saw Koji Kanemoto do it once on a tour of New Japan. And I'd never seen it before. And literally after the match was over, I asked him if I could use it. And he said, sure. And I go, I will name it after you, I promise. And so I took it to the States. And now at least 5 different people are using it around the world. At least. I know Sami Zayn's using it. I know Jay Lethal uses it. I know Stevie Richards has used it. I know Punk was using it for a while. So there's 4. There's got to be a 5th guy. There's got to be a 5th guy somewhere using it.
Maybe, hey, how close is the Rusev? He's got to be ready to use it anytime or steal it.
No, I don't know, man. Maybe. He would have to leave his feet, though. I don't think he's left his feet yet, has he? He's still staying upright, so maybe.
He's still staying upright, burying poor Consequences Creed.
Where will he be in a year?
That's a good question. Was that a question to me, or was that just rhetorical?
That's rhetorical.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'd like you to put your
then.
2 cents in. No, yes.
Well, I it depends, man. I hope he's, maybe him and Ryback will get into a big feud at some point. So.
Dig on Dark Fox 1.
Oh, dig on Dark Fox number 1.
Christopher Daniels.
I'm sorry.
Christopher Daniels won. Dark Fox, nothing.
Right. I believe Christopher Daniels had something to say after Greenway was talking over him. What was that, Christopher?
I just said I actually like Ryback. I think that he was in a tough spot, and I think he's handled himself pretty well considering, the change in the amount of emphasis that he's been getting in the company. So,
I will say with what's been happening with Ryback, him and Axel have been just taking the ball and running with that team too.
Good, man. I mean, that's cool. Sometimes that's what happens. I mean, that same sort of thing was going on with me and Frankie. Like, there was a period of time where we didn't see anything happening for us in singles competition, and we decided to sort of get together and pool our resources. So I don't know if that's what happened with Ryback and Joe Hennig, but that's a great story if that's what happened. If they decided, hey, nothing's really happening for us, let's put our resources together and try to be a team out of it and make something different. Sometimes the sum is greater than the parts. Yeah,
and also I think one thing that's key, especially with a lot of tag teams when it's 2 single stars initially, is having fun with it. When I see you and Xarian, you guys are definitely having fun with that, and it seems those two are starting to get to the point where they're having fun with it too.
Sure. I mean, that we're just in terms of Frankie and myself, we just decided to just be more like ourselves, and rather than trying to put on a facade of being a quote unquote mean wrestler, we just decided to go out there and be more like ourselves and be the 2 smart ass guys that we are backstage and in the car on the road and at the airport every day. So just being those types of guys is what really got Bad Influence to be what it is.
I think that's true about a lot of wrestlers that get, not exactly frustrated, but they get sort of to that point where there's not a whole lot of forward momentum going, no matter what's going on with the current gimmick. So they adopt a little more of their personality. It resonates more with the fans. They get more into it because, by any stretch of the imagination, Bad Influence was set up to be more of a heel tag team, and yet they got some pretty decent pops.
Well, yeah, and I think that, people understood that we were entertaining, and then when it came time for us to get booed, I felt like we did our very best to get booed. No one was cheering us when we were wrestling against guys like James Storm and Gunner. They may have cheered when we talked, but when it came down to the actual wrestling and trying to get heat, I thought that we were very good at that respect of trying to be disliked. And, so that was something that we worked very hard on in terms of trying to stay entertaining and then still trying to be heels when the time came.
Mm-hmm. The whole gimmick of Bad Influence sort of resonates rather well for things like Chikara. Are you guys looking, or have you had any feelers as far as Chikara or DG USA goes?
We haven't had any contact with Chikara. We did work for DG USA on WrestleMania weekend, and had a really good experience with them. I've known Gabe since 2002. And so, Gabe, I'm sure Gabe is under the impression, or at least has the knowledge, that anytime he wanted to use Bad Influence would be available to him as well. But yeah, I mean, we're literally wide open for, to work. Like I said before, like, we're just ready to wrestle. We want to go out and wrestle. I don't want to sit at home and wait for the end of my career to come around. I want to go out and work as much as I can, as often as I can, while I'm still healthy enough to wrestle as much as I want. And I think Frankie feels the same way. There's, we want to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak.
No, understandable. One question I had, just because you and Frankie are so close, and I'm curious as to how, the talk went between the two of you when they decided to take Suicide and sort of rebrand it as something a little different than what Frankie was doing.
We were fine with it. I mean, as long as we didn't have to put a costume on, we were thrilled.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
If you have one piece of advice for new wrestlers or wrestlers that are just coming up in the indies, one piece of advice that would, help them, what would that be?
Get out of your comfort zone. Try and wrestle as many different places, as many different people, for as many different promoters as you can. Because once you get comfortable with yourself as the wrestler, in the sense that you can go into a new company, meet someone for their very first time in the locker room, and then a couple hours later go out and have an entertaining match, that's when you can become a commodity for a promoter. When a promoter sees that it doesn't matter who he puts you up against, it doesn't matter if you're wrestling the first match or the main event. It doesn't matter if he has to put you in a tag match or a singles match or a six-man or a battle royal or whatnot. If you can handle yourself in those situations, that's when you become a commodity. And, I feel like guys that start in schools, if they stay in that school, if they stay in that area, they're only get as good as the best guy that they're wrestling. And so you have to challenge yourself, go outside of your comfort zone and try to find these different people to work with so that you get the experience and you get the confidence to go everywhere and wrestle anybody.
No, that's fair. I was doing some reading as we were getting set up for the interview, and I noticed that you are actually a trained actor.
Yes.
Do you have any plans or any upcoming roles that we should be knowing about?
Nothing specific. I mean, I live on the West Coast, so there's always the opportunity to go audition. I'm submitting myself for things all the time. But a lot of that is I don't get the opportunity to pound the pavement like 40 hours a week like a lot of these actors in California do. I'm a husband and a father, and I have to take care of my home when I'm not hitting the gym or on the road training or wrestling. So I do as much as I can with the schedule that I have.
That sounds good. One more thing before we get into, we're going to do a little bit of a rapid fire thing as we end off with you, but I wanted to ask one more thing about the comic book, because I'm a gigantic Wolverine mark as myself.
All right.
I'm curious about this new comic book venture. How did it come around? Who did you get involved with? How did you touch base with these guys and get this going?
All right. Well, the two gentlemen in particular that I dealt with, Art Baltazar and Franco, they're Eisner Award-winning artists and cartoonists and writers. They've done stuff with DC Comics, the Tiny Titans and Superman Family Adventures. They did Itty Bitty Hellboy for Dark Horse Comics. And they just recently did a Kickstarter where they started their own self-publishing promotion called Aw Yeah Comics. And the characters in those books are characters like Action Cat and Adventure Bug and Awesome Bear. I met those two guys at the San Diego Comic-Con about 3 years ago and kept running into them. Like they work out of the Chicago area, and I was doing some stuff in Chicago and happened to run into them again. So I got to be friends with Art, specifically Art Baltazar. And once they started doing the Aw Yeah Comics imprint, literally just one day I decided to write a story about Frankie and myself interacting with Action Cat and Adventure Bug. And so I sent the script completely unsolicited to Art and to Franco and the guys at Aw Yeah Comics, and I asked them if they'd be interested in making this comic book. And to my delight and surprise, they were 100% on board. So I wrote that script in September, and because Art is such a high demand with his art and his writing, and same with Franco, it finally got published in April, a couple weeks ago, and since then I've been, we did the C2E2 comic convention in Chicago at the end of April, and actually next week Frankie and I are going to the MCM London Comic-Con as creators, and just going to continue and do more stuff with those guys as my schedule and as their schedule permits.
And I was going to say, what do you think of, speaking of comics, what do you think of the new crop of comic book movies that are coming out this year?
I really liked, I dug Thor, I dug Captain America. I just finished watching, I just saw the Spider-Man 2 this last weekend, and I was really surprised.
That was a good fucking movie.
Yeah, I dug it, man, and I thought the one thing that surprised me was the fact that they had the three villains sort of set up, but the whole movie didn't deal with him dealing with all three villains at once. I thought that was really smart. It saves Rhino for a future movie. And it was the first movie that I can remember where it ended sort of the same way the comic books sort of end, in the sense that they're always going. Those stories are always being told. There's a new comic every month, and it felt like the end of the movie was like, all right, well, this is just how Spidey's life is. He's constantly battling these villains. They come and they go, but he's always on the fight. So I really dug it. And then I'm really looking forward to X-Men next month. Is it next month? It's got to be pretty soon.
It's like next week, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's coming up. All right.
Yeah, me personally... No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's actually in 2 weeks. Godzilla's this week, though.
Okay.
Well, I'm a huge Spider-Man mark myself. I've got every Amazing Spider-Man from 150 to what's current, 700, whatever.
Sweet.
I'm not going to get into that.
What'd you think of Superior? What'd you think of Superior Spider-Man? Were you in on that, or did you hate it at first?
No, I like Superior, and I would have been down with the progression back to Amazing, and they should have just did it where they did the volume 2 they did a number of years ago, where that just ended up being marked in the Amazing count.
Oh, right.
But I like the whole idea of Superior, and I think they just ended it too soon. Okay. I don't think they I don't think they gave it the wings that it could have had.
Okay, that's interesting, man, because I've heard nothing. I've heard a lot of people say it went on way too long. And I didn't think it went on too long. I was sort of seeing, I was interested to see how much more they were going to do. And I feel sort of the same way with the all new X-Men comic book. And that seems to be going on a lot longer. Yeah, man. See, my mentality is at some point, both of those concepts have an ending in mind, and Superior got to their ending a lot quicker. I'm interested to see how much longer they keep the current or the old X-Men, or the new X-Men in the present, and have them continually sort of changing their own history and interacting with the people that know them as adults. So I mean, that's real interesting stuff, man.
Well, I mean, the whole industry gets to a gimmicky process, just like any industry. Sure. But with DC New 52 coming out 2 years ago, whatever. Marvel's response to that was the all new Marvel, and I get it. We're on a wrestling show, but Daniels is a comic book nerd, so we're gonna geek out for a second. So is Punchy.
That's right. Yeah, I think that.
And so am I. So fucking Dark Fox, you and Ryback can suck it. But anyway, soon this kickstarting universe is over gimmick will end, and somebody's gonna realize the race to 1,000. Who's gonna be the first one to get to 1,000? And honestly, if you take Detective Comics, I think they're almost there. Yep. But so it's gonna dawn on somebody well, listen, if I count Superior Spider-Man, or if I count if I count this run of Detective, we can get to 1,000 first. Who's gonna put out the first 1,000th issue?
Well, wait, wouldn't Action Comics actually be closer to 1,000?
I was just gonna say Action. I was gonna say Action Comics because I thought they were. I want to say they hit 800. Way back before the New 52. It's one of those two books, though, probably. And the funny thing is, Marvel has done it in the past where they've, like you said, they started over, and then all of a sudden they went back to the original numbering, counting the second volume as part of the first. And they've done that a couple times. Even recently, the new Nova series that just came out, they counted all of the issues of Nova from all of the old series and basically said, all right, well, this would be the 100th issue of Nova if we had just kept going from number 1. And so issue 100 came out maybe 6 months ago. And I can absolutely see that happening at some point, just to say, hey, we did 1,000.
Right. They just want to see those 4 digits on a comic book. And that's going to be the next gimmick marketing ploy, and it'll be the race to 1,000.
Actually,
yeah, I wonder if there's a Marvel book. Probably the closest Marvel book that they would have would have been something like, I want to say Thor or Fantastic Four. I know Fantastic Four got into the 600s. before they changed to FF.
Spider-Man was at 700 when they went to Superior.
Spider-Man was 700, right? So
they've got to be like 750. Well, no, 732, I guess, would be, if they counted Superior, it would be 732.
Right.
Actually, technically, Deadpool had a 1,000th issue. They still got to fill the gap with the rest of the issues, but, they released that.
Right. Actually, they did that with Wolverine a couple years, too. They did a Wolverine 1,000.
So, seeing as we're all geeking out, Christopher, are you doing a lot of Comic Cons, like for Wizard Cons or any? I mean, that's got to be like double bonus payback for you. It's like you're getting paid to be here, plus you're a comic book guy, like so. Like,
I don't have anything. I'm holding out to see if I can get onto the New York Comic Con in October.
Nice.
I'm doing the one in London next weekend. And, we just did the one in Chicago. I probably am booked to wrestle on the East Coast when San Diego is going on. But, yeah, man, I'm basically sort of taking a cue from Art and Franco. Like, when they're doing Comic Cons, I'm going to try and sneak in with them as, a co-creator on their comic book. Because that's really my claim to fame at this point in terms of the Comic Con world. That's my creation. So, I mean, if I can get in with them and sort of sit at the tables with them and sort of take it in like that, I'd love to do that. But, at the same time, I'm still wrestling and, sometimes the wrestling schedule. Yeah. So I'm a double threat. I'm a hyphenate now. I'm a wrestler hyphen writer.
Get your Fallen Angel 3-day weekend pass.
There you go.
Autograph and picture included.
Exactly. You've got it all figured out.
Yeah, no, I got one with Shatner at Chicago's last 2 years ago.
There you go.
He's not a wrestler, but he did do Star Trek and some other shit.
He's way more. Yeah, he's done a couple things.
Here and there, Boston Legal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
TJ Hooker. Don't forget that.
Yeah. I met him for 20 seconds, said some dumb thing to him that he didn't even understand, and just we took the picture, and I'm just like, what?
He was drunk anyway, dude. He was drunk. Believe me.
So would I, if I was him.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, was he Greenway?
I'm not him, and I am drunk.
I wonder if he was Greenway's second hour of this show drunk.
Yeah, really. That's setting the bar to an all-new high.
If I was Shatner, I'd show up that way everywhere, to the gas station.
Now, Daniel, I had a couple questions, too, going back to wrestling for a second.
All right.
I always wonder, if you feel if Ring of Honor currently would be on a different path had certain things not happened in the early 2000s, particularly since some of it led to TNA, for example, telling certain guys not to go do the bookings there anymore. Do you think it would have changed the face of the company, or do you think it would still be the same as it is now?
I don't think it necessarily would have changed a whole lot. I mean, because a lot of the people that were told not to go ended up getting a chance to go back. Like, I know I returned and had an opportunity to work there. I think that the thing that really changed for them was being bought by Sinclair and getting their syndicated television show. Now I feel like they're on a different path and they're being a lot more successful. So, I mean, I feel like that's the thing that really broke for them, was getting that long-term deal with Sinclair. Because they were basically the model of making their shows for the DVD, and they were sort of stuck. I feel like they were sort of stuck in that position until the television show came around, and they had that short flirtation with HDNet with the television show with them for a while, but that really wasn't. It wasn't, getting the penetration, excuse the word, that the syndicated show is getting now. And I feel like the syndicated show, it's opening up a lot more doors for them in terms of different markets to wrestle in, and more shows, which is what that roster really needed, was a chance to tour more often.
Yep. And also another question, and skipping around a bit. And this, some people wouldn't know, especially because you were wearing a mask for this, but you were actually one of the Los Conquistadors.
Okay.
WWE during the, I believe it was as part of the Hardys and Edge and Christian feud. How did that come about, and was it as fun as it probably looked like it was when you were doing it?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, they just needed guys that were similar in stature to Edge and Christian. So, I mean, they had me and they had Aaron Aguilera, the Hardcore Kid, as the two guys, and I thought that was sort of weird because Christian's a little bit taller than me anyway, but they probably didn't care so much. But the truth was, we never really wrestled as the Conquistadors. They just had us doing the stuff where we had to appear with Edge and Christian. So it wasn't as long term as people think. Like, we really only did it a couple days, but it was an opportunity to travel with them for a short period, and that was my first real interaction with Edge and Christian, and I got a chance to work with Christian later when he was at TNA, and he's a real good friend of mine to this day.
That's great. All right, Greenway, do you have any extra questions for Christopher while we've got him on the line here?
I could ask him a bunch of questions that I'd just like to answer off the cuff, but I would hope you guys would help me out. But if you want to throw me under the bus, I guess I'll just answer him until he doesn't want to answer him anymore.
That is also the mantra of this show, throwing you under the bus.
You have a lot of mantras on this show, by the way.
Oh, yes. We're mantra-rific.
Okay, hit it.
I always have loved the rapid fire, just, give me the best answer off the cuff belt kind of thing.
Hit me. All right, give it to me.
All right. If you could give any advice to a 24-year-old Scott Steiner, what would it be?
Bleach your hair blonde.
Your favorite gimmick in the WWE that's on TV now?
Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph.
Goddamn right. Anyway, so I fucking love Ziggler. It's my mark out. Anyway, if you had anybody end the streak, who would have been?
Michaels. I would have had Michaels do it, but that's me.
Who takes the title off Daniel Bryan if you're that guy?
Ooh, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, an interesting pick.
That's a fucking good answer.
That's a really good answer.
That's a really good answer. It's almost like stutter step me for my next question.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to catch you off guard there, Doctor.
No, it's not off guard. I'm just amazed at your excellence in answering questions. Anyway, so the excellence of execution in answering questions.
Thanks.
So, is Sting going to show up in WWE?
I think so, and I hope he does great. I hope he knocks it out of the park the minute he gets there too.
What kind of role?
I think a match with Undertaker, even though the streak is over, I think that there's still mystique behind that matchup, and I think that that's something that they could do with a minimum of, I know that Undertaker, or my understanding is that Undertaker is really, really hurting physically, but I think that that match is something that he could do, or maybe wants to do, before he decides to, hang it up for good.
Yeah, I've always, and I've said this on our show before, that I thought, they've got, each, since Randy Orton unified, and I'm using air quotes, the titles, they've been carrying around this WCW championship, and I always thought, somehow put it on Sting and have Undertaker retire the both of them. Him and that title, it retires on Sting, you get rid of both, and that's how you end it. That's
interesting. That's an interesting thought. I don't know if they would put Sting over on someone like Randy Orton at this point. I don't know if they would think that that's. Well, maybe they would. I don't know. That's a different thought, though.
Yeah, and I'm not here to tell you how to put the title on Sting. I'm just saying if you're gonna retire both, if you're gonna get rid of Sting and that WCW title, that's who it should go out on.
Sure.
All right, so let's see. Next question: if you had, who was your favorite wrestler growing up as a mark?
My first one was Magnum TA. My one of all time was Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, well.
As a fan. Now, as a worker, my favorite is Shawn Michaels.
Oh, well, we don't see eye to eye it's different because it's Macho Man.
That's
for me.
fair. That's fair. That's a strong answer. That's a strong answer. But you got to understand, I grew up watching Mid-Atlantic and NWA. I didn't get to know Randy Savage until I had already seen Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat and the Four Horsemen and the Road Warriors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dig it.
Fair enough.
Jesus.
Who's the best tag team out there right now?
Bad influence.
In terms of,
Really? What did you think he was going to answer?
All right. Who's the best tag team in the WWE? Or in their under their banner? Let's put it that way.
Under their banner,
so including NXT. Hint.
You know what? I don't get a chance. Well, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of NXT, so I'm not familiar with those guys.
You don't subscribe to the network? Because if you want to, I will get $25 to WWE Shop.
Jesus, Greenway.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
No, I'm
the
good.
deal they have going.
No, I understand. I hear you.
The answer is
as fine as an offer that is. Okay, if you say so, I'll just. If you wanted my answer, why didn't you just ask me to repeat the word "the Ascension"? I would have done that as well.
Do you like the Ascension? Are you word?
I don't know the Ascension. I don't know the Ascension. I'm sure they don't know me either, though. So I'm not really, I'm all right with that.
They should. You're Christopher fucking Daniels.
That's actually my middle name too. I have it on my license.
They should know you.
All right, the chat room won't let this drop, so I've got to ask. And since every wrestler seems to have to get on board with this, your feelings on the CM Punk situation? What's your impression of it?
I thought you were gonna ask him who gives the best head in the industry.
Jesus, I'm not gonna ask that. I want to know the CM Punk thing.
Well, that question's also in the chat room. I'm just saying.
That's one of the chat room questions?
Yes.
You can answer both of them, but answer his first.
My wife gives good head, but only to me. Does that count?
Yes, that counts.
All right, there we go. That's the one I'm answering that just for my own.
Right.
Second, what about Punk? You know what? If he's happy being out, if he's happy, if he was unhappy being where he was, then it's good that he has the ability to get out while he can. And if he wants to return, great. And if he doesn't, he doesn't have anything less to prove. If he wasn't having fun, if he wasn't enjoying his job, I think that's one of the worst things about pro wrestling is the minute that you stop enjoying it, it's a hard job, man. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that is still doing it with a passion and hates it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I've always said, the minute that I don't enjoy myself, I will look for a different job because it's hard, man. And I think the thing that makes it easy is the fact that I love doing it when I'm doing it. So, I mean, I think it's great that he worked hard enough to get to the position where he's got the clout to say, you know what, I can walk away from this and that's it. And good for him, man. He definitely worked hard to get to that spot and he earned his stripes. And if he never steps another foot in another wrestling ring, he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He got there the way he wanted to get there and he did what he wanted to do. Or he did a lot. I don't know if it's everything he wanted to do, but he certainly did a lot.
That's fantastic. Christopher Daniels, thank you very much for your time. I know we held you
one more question.
Oh, good God.
Okay, it's not about head, is it?
Sorry, Christopher, thank you. Go out and buy his one-shot comic book. Look for the second one's coming out in the summer, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Follow him at FAC Daniels.
Yes, you can pronounce it Fact Daniels if you want.
Fact Daniels on Twitter. Follow him.
Fact Daniels on Twitter. Please follow me.
All right, last question from Greenway.
All right.
And
Greenway,
I apologize if I've had too many beers, but I like to drink.
There's no such thing. Too many beers. Nonsense.
And before I ask this question, I love your Bray Wyatt defeating Daniel Bryan, taking the title off him. Answer.
Thanks.
If you could kill one McMahon, which one?
Oh God.
You can kill one, and no repercussions. Just any one of them. And obviously your options are Linda, Vince, Shane, or Stephanie. Or I guess you could kill Triple H if you want to. But
I'm gonna kill Vince Senior.
Oh, safe answer.
Oh, he's gonna.
I love the PC answer.
Whoosh.
Yeah, but but he's pulling a Bishop from X-Men. He's going back in time.
I just did the Kobayashi Maru on you guys.
Oh,
I just changed the scenario.
Your whole world would be different because
I know it.
Vince would never happen.
It's days of future past for the wrestling world.
Fuck, your answers are great. You're a great guest.
All right, thanks, man.
Christopher Daniels, I really appreciate it. You've been a hell of a sport. We're looking forward to everything you got coming up in the future. Like Greenway said, FAC Daniels on Twitter. Don't forget, Fallen Angel, ChristopherDaniels.com is his website. Check it out for upcoming events and everything. Thank you again, Christopher. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the good times and silliness. I appreciate it.
Follow him on Twitter at Fact Daniels.
Fact Daniels. You can spell it out if you want. You don't have to, though.
FAC Daniels. Jesus.
There you go.
The Fallen Angel. Fucking do a Google search, assholes. Just
come
follow
on, guys. Fuck. Do some work. Don't be so lazy. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Listen how awesome he is. He gave like 40 different awesome questions, or answered 40 different questions awesome. So just follow that guy.
So there. Take that, everybody.
That's how that goes.
Who's your next interview? I dare him to follow this interview, whoever's next.
Oh, my God. The bar is way too high at this point.
Train.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, get Freight Train on. That'll be an interesting 55 minutes as well.
Oh, my God.
We're going to put our interview right around his smooth belly.
Good.
All right, sir. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you.